Well, good afternoon and welcome to Orient Live for another League One match as the O's travel to Stockport and we're going on the hunt for another 3 points from last Saturday's fantastic win over Reading. And it's just myself and Orient legend Jabbo Bere in the studio. For now, Glenn Wilkie will be joining us very shortly, but what a strike partnership we would have made, Jabbo. I think I'd have been winning all your flick-ons if we were a partnership on the pitch.
Very deadly, Ollie, very deadly.
I'd do all your running for you as well.
I used to run. Hey. I've done my fair share on there, so but I'll definitely be getting the flick-ons, and I think I've seen a couple of your finishes. I think you'll be all right.
Well, thankfully, neither of us are starting today. I don't think we'd stand much of a chance if we were. But as I just alluded to, we're off the mark in the league now. Last game's win in the league over Reading was a much needed 3 points, and today's all about building on that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, last week's performance was fantastic. There's a few standout players from that game, but as a team, we did what was needed. In stages of the game, we managed it well. Then when we had to be dangerous in attack, we posed a threat. And it was just nice to see it out in the way we did. So definitely, that's last week. This week, can we build on it? Can we continue that momentum? And we're coming to a tough team, a side that are going to be there or thereabouts and come the end of the season. But if we're going to be about it, and if we want to build and get that confidence, and this is a great game to be involved in.
Don't want to state the obvious, but not losing again last Saturday and picking up the first points, how big is that from a team's point of view? And the longer you go without that first win, the harder a season becomes. So mentally, for the boys, that must be a real big lift for them.
Oh, totally. I mean, it's just like a big weight's just been lifted off your shoulder. When you start a season, there's many firsts of everything, and one of the biggest ones is getting that first win, whether home or away, and it just suddenly you feel that pressure's off, and thankfully, hopefully now you can just release yourself and start playing the football you're capable of. But mentally they're going to be much more up for it. They're going to be happy. They're going to be really more confident. But now it's building on it, because that was last week. Now can we continue? Now can we build some momentum and climb up the table?
And I think a big part, and Richie alluded to it in his post-match interview, the biggest cheers on the days were for the players throwing their bodies on the line, blocking shots, saves from Zach in goal. It's fantastic was for Charlie to score that clean sheet. That first clean sheet is also another big one to tick off, and I know there's been some question marks from supporters over our ability to be solid at the back, but it was the commitment and the defensive stability that we showed on Saturday that was impressive.
100%, and it's nice to get that energy, that synergy back amongst the back four. They communicated well. Some of the blocks were amazing. Sometimes when one person went up, someone covered round, and we showed shades of that strong defensive unit we had back in League Two. And it's about just getting the consistent performances, so everyone can sort of rally round and understand the way we're playing. But I thought last week we shown that immensely, and some of the blocks, the players were just like, you can see they didn't want to give up that lead, and some of the blocks from Brown and Beckles in particular, it was just brilliant. So hopefully we build upon that, build that confidence, get that understanding, that back four unit moving through the lines well, and hopefully we can build on that.
Before we do start to look towards today's game, let's just very briefly touch on Tuesday night away at Premier League Brentford. Was ahead in the game for 7 minutes. You had a bright start. It was a nice evening out. The players won't be too knocked from not progressing into the fourth round of the League Cup. But we have played on Tuesday night. It maybe is taken a bit out. But do they take confidence from that? There was some positives to be taken for sure. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, it's great to be play and test yourself against Premiership opposition. And every time, whenever I played in those sort of games, you're up for it in a different mindset. It's not league. It's one of those ones that, like a free hit, but you can really just let the shackles off. You can go for it because, win or lose, it's as long as you put performances and it's almost you want to test yourself to see where you lie against some of these Premiership players. So it's always, I felt it was almost like a free hit where you can go and express yourself and test yourself amongst it. So I don't think they'll take, obviously you want to keep momentum, you want to get the wins, you want to keep trying to score, but ultimately the bread and butter is in the league, so I don't think they'll be too despondent about the result on Tuesday.
Well, as Jabbo said, it is all about the league now, and points is what matters, and hopefully the O's can pick up another 3 points this afternoon. And Richie's opted a slightly changed 11, following on from Tuesday night's defeat to Brentford, as we've just discussed. So let's take a look and see how Welland is lining up and selecting his team for this afternoon's fixture. In goal for Leighton Orient, we have Zach Hemmings across the back line. We have Curry at left back and James at right back, and in the middle it's Dan Happy and wearing the armband, Omar Beckles. In midfield we have Sean Clare, following on from his man of the match performance at Reading, and Jordan Brown partners him in the three just behind the striker. We have Ethan Galbraith in that number 10 role, and on the wings we have Dan Adji and Ollie O'Neill. And leading the line, his goal is what sealed the 3 points for the O's. It is Charlie Kelman. And on the bench for the O's, we have Noah Phillips, we have Dominic Ball, we have, I can't actually see it right there, we've got Perkins, and so apologies, we've missed that, but we also have Warrington, Graham, Donnelly and Perkins alongside Brandon Cooper, who's also on the bench. So there we are, that is the Orient squad for this afternoon's fixture against Stockport. As we've touched on there, Sean Clare is the main man from last Saturday. I was at a wedding, unfortunately. I didn't get to watch a full game, but you, Jabba, you were singing his praises just before we came on air.
Yeah. I mean, he was a breath of fresh air. I thought he set the tone in the middle of the park. He was on the front foot, he was pressing, and I think he galvanised the players around him. And he was very alert. And as he got warm, as he got into the game, he just started showing glimpses of some neat footwork. And credit to him, I thought he set the tempo for the team, and it was a nice, it was refreshing to see him in there. And hopefully he continues that, because it was really good, I thought.
And that back line, that they're going to want to have a similar performance to one they showed last week. But you've got with Curry at left back and Tom James at right back, you've got two solid fullbacks, and we know what Omar and Happy are capable of defending in that centre back pairing as well. So we're hoping for a bit of continuity from last week's clean sheet. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, Beckles and Haps know each other's games very well, and as well as Tom James. So Curry now adding to that, and Curry's an exciting player who's a very good fullback, and he's finding his feet after being injured. So once they play a few more games and keep it tight and get the communication going, I have no doubt they can build upon that and become a very, hopefully, formidable back line.
It's going to be a tough game before the O's. I believe it's 12 games in Stockport's last 5. We've got 5 goals in our last 4. So, they're one of the big hitters. They're yet to win a game. So, they're yet to lose a game. So, for the O's in that defence, it maybe will be a slightly tougher test than Reading was last week. They've really settled into life in League One very quickly, and maybe some more questions will be asked of them this afternoon.
Yeah, definitely. But this is it now. We had our start, and we all sort of expect it to be a bit tricky, but now we've got the first win. It's time to build, and if we're going to compete, if we're going to be up there, these are the places we have to go to and put on if it has to be some sort of like tight defensive masterclass and get a point away from home, that's what we've got to do. And they haven't lost. I think they've won 8 out of the last 9 home matches, Stockport, and they've scored a lot of goals this season. So it's not gonna be easy, and defensively they're really good, but we can compete, and we've shown that last week going to a big club and a nice stadium and stuff, and we can compete, and we can be resolute. And today again, it's going to be a different kind of test, but can we show different characteristics from last week, and show a real sort of defensive kind of tight unit, and can we break at the right time and take those moments when they come?
Absolutely. Well, of course, we also put in a fantastic performance away to Stockport back in our league winning season back in 2022. Hopefully the O's can replicate that this afternoon. We like causing an upset every now and then, don't we? Right then, time to turn our attention away from the football for just a moment. We've got a call coming up with Josh Lewin, who should be able to hear us right now. Thank you very much for joining us, Josh. It's a pleasure to meet you. Josh is the mastermind, I believe, behind the recent documentary that has been announced, the $5 Derby. Is it, Josh? Tell us a little bit about how that came about.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me, guys, and pleasure to be up early with you here from the States. I know it's a big match today for you guys. And yeah, Nigel Travis was really the first one to put his hand in the air when this concept came about. My idea was to let Americans know it's not just Wrexham. There's 71 other teams in the EFL, and a lot of them do have American interest and investment. I think right now that number is 23 out of 72 clubs have at least one part owner that is American. So that's basically a third. And I wanted to call the thing not Wrexham, and then the lawyers said I couldn't do that. But Nigel was among the three owners, Simon Hallett of Plymouth, Rob Kuig then of Wickham, trying to get Reading right now. And that obviously is on hold. But those three decided to kind of lay themselves bare and show people how the sausage is made. And it was a really fun project. And it's airing here in the States right now on CBS and Paramount. And, I don't think anybody hates it yet, but I guess that's good. The idea is just to get people excited about the fact that it's not just the Premiership. It's not just Wrexham. People in the States are still kind of learning a lot about what football really means over there, and we just wanted to help tell that story a little bit.
I mean, you've touched on Wrexham there and that story that's taken the football world in America by storm, I know. And obviously that Monday night game against Birmingham was a high-profile match here, Tom Brady being involved. It feels like there's almost a bit of a phenomenon sweeping the States of lower league English football. I mean, why do you think that is? Why do you think Americans like yourself are kind of starting to notice this level of football and what's widely followed in England? It's an interesting one.
It is interesting, and I think part of it is this whole what to us is an alien life form when you talk about relegation. We don't have that over here in any sport. I mean, there's a baseball team over here, the Chicago White Sox. It's about to go 39 wins and 123 losses. I mean, that's not even winning 25% of your games. You don't get relegated. You just come back the next year and you do it again. So I think that's part of it. The Ted Lasso phenomenon over here is real. I'm not sure how much that caught fire in the UK, but this is a story of a guy that knows nothing about English football or football at all, goes over and kind of learns on the job, and has all these epiphanies about why England and the States are different. What's better over here, what's better over there, how we're all really the same people. We speak the same language, but not really. Ted Lasso has become such a popular program here. I think that's kind of spurred it. And you mentioned with Wrexham, it's just really caught a bit of a wave, right? Where I think people are fascinated that, that this little team in a little town could start meaning so much to so many. So it opens the door to say, well, it's not just in some remote corner of Wales. I mean, there's teams right there, for example, in East London that, why would someone be an Orient fan as opposed to being an Arsenal fan or a West Ham fan? And there are real reasons for that. And we wanted to explore that.
And just to kind of maybe focus in on Orient and the work you've done with Nigel, obviously, I think he's probably watching right now, so I think you're going to have to be nice when you.
Oh, sorry. Hi, Nigel.
What's it been like working with Nigel and partly following the club, I guess, in some ways?
Well, it's great. I think Nigel understands completely that, look, I mean, if Ryan Reynolds and Ron McElhenney hadn't thought of it first, it could have very easily been, let's tell the Leighton Orient story to America, and they could have been America's darlings. And by the way, I think there's still room for that. I think that Wrexham doesn't have, they don't get to eat all the chips out of the bowl. That, there's a place for a team like Leighton Orient to kind of become, America's team, because there are such great stories starting with Nigel. He, I think, more than a lot of the other owners, just really understands this is a community. You run it like a family. You invite people into your family.
We've lost connection there. I mean, it was some really interesting stuff. Hopefully, we can get Josh back on the line to just finalise that there. Hopefully, it's not too much of a hard fix, Jabbo. But I'm not sure if you could hear what you were saying there. But, it's. I'm looking forward to seeing the documentary myself. But there's such a market out there, and we've got the international fans day coming up as well, where fans come from across the globe to watch Orient. I think we've got Josh back. So that will tee us up for our next question then, and just about. Obviously, you've said that American people can watch it on Paramount and over there, and hopefully us Orient fans can get a chance to watch it soon as well. But just how big do you think the impact could be of this documentary?
I hope it's massive. I hope it makes people understand why the pyramid is such a wonderful thing to behold. Again, we don't have anything like that over here, so I think people will. We're watching the top of the pyramid. We understand why Man City is great and why, all these big teams have a big following. I mean, finally, there's some understanding and appreciation of that. But yeah, there are wonderful stories to mine at levels 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way down. And, Orient has come so far, with really great ideas, right? I mean,
Well, I think that connection just dropped out again. Josh, if you can hear us, thank you very much for joining us. That was fantastic to hear about. And of course, as me and Jabby just touched on ourselves, the next International Day is coming up. So if you're watching from across the seas, then head over to www.leightonorient.com to pick up your International Day experience for only £299 per person. The information can all be found there, and the spaces are limited, so make sure you act fast to confirm your space. I think we got Josh. We'll try one more time. Just say thank you, Josh. That's not Josh. That's Matt Hiscock. Well, I was going to ask him if he was going to be watching today and if he thinks we're going to be winning. I'm sure he'd say yes. Right then, moving on then, Jabbo. Let's talk very quickly about this number one position. In goal, Josh Keeley had a fairly impressive Tuesday night, despite conceding 3 goals. But you can forgive him that. He made a couple of smart saves. That's interesting. Zach came in, started today, but it's a bit of competition now, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it over at Arsenal when you have two sort of close keepers that are going to try and push each other. Initially, when Raya went there and Ramsdale, yeah, there was a bit like, who's going to start, who's going to do this, and I think competition is healthy, it keeps you on your toes, and I think Hemmings played really well last week's game, so, and then Keeley played well at midweek, so it's interesting, but I think with goalkeepers you're very close, you train together really quite intimately, but you're really in each other's faces, so it'd be interesting. But made the best player win. But I think competition is always healthy.
Let's take a look at some of his best bits from Tuesday night. Now then, it's such an interesting position as well. The goalkeeper. There's only one. Well, there's 2 of them, but there's only one of them on a pitch for one team. And it must be different to being a striker or a midfielder, where you can fight your way into the team. But it's going to be a battle between these two. And Keeley made a good case for asking Richie for a game.
I mean, that's all you can do. You got to stake your claim, and every time you get the opportunity, you get to wear the shirt. Because in the other position, especially up front, you can come off after 60, 70 minutes. There's always rotation. If you're not doing certain things, you might get a rest. But as a goalkeeper, it's normally a solidified position. So every time you do get the opportunity, like a great save there with his feet, he's very alert, very sharp, and it seems like a very good shot stopper. So, when you get the opportunity, you have to kind of take it, but then it puts the pressure on the other goalkeeper to maintain his standards. And when you work closely together, you can almost push each other even more in training, especially in shooting sessions, which as a striker, we always used to love. And the keepers used to say, go in, it's too long, we're tired. But in those sessions, you'll get to see who's making those saves as well, and you can make a case for yourself during training. So it'd be interesting, and then it's only going to push the squad and the players forward.
Well, it was a good night for him on Tuesday night, and let's hear from the main man himself then. Time to hear from Mr. Keeley.
I signed on the Friday morning and then left on the Saturday then for 11, 12 days. Didn't really haven't met anybody. Obviously I met you, the media team and that, but didn't meet anybody. And then came in day before the Reading game. And then it's just been here since. Great having Jamie here and Ollie as well, who I know very well through Ireland. It's great having them here. It kind of makes it easier to break in. You know, a lot of boys that are here that I don't know, of course, but they've all made me feel real welcome. Spoke to Ollie when we were away on international, just about, you know, the routine, the daily routines, what they do on matchday -1, stuff like that, and yeah, no, it sounded really good from what he said, and yeah, I couldn't really wait to get started. It is important the GKs, you know, you stick together. As you said, it's a cliche, the GK union, but you know, it is important, and yesterday was a big memory for me, obviously making my first league debut. And Zach, he was really good. He was really good with me in the warm up after the game, everything. So that's just the bond you have with GKs. I'm hoping to obviously make as many first team appearances as I can. I played from January till April on my last loan, and obviously this year I'm here for the full season. So you know, I'm just hoping to play well every week, do as much as I can for the team, help improve the team, and yeah, we go from there.
Right then, just under 10 minutes to go until kick-off. So don't forget, if you're watching along live on our YouTube stream, UK fans, you can head over to the Match Centre on the club website and pick up an audio pass to listen along with Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock. And if you're watching overseas, then you can watch along with us here on Orient Live. So just head over to www.leighthonorient.com, head over to the Match Centre and pick up your passes. But now let's take a look at the home side, as the Stockport County are looking to continue their fine start to life in League One and keep that winning spell going. So in goal for Stockport is Corey Adai. They have their captain Fraser Horsfall, Jack Diamond, Callum Camps, Will Collar and Ethan Pye. And then moving forward we have Callum Connolly, Carl Wooten and Aston Villa loanee Louis Barry. We then also have Ollie Norwood and Teo Adaramola. And on the bench for Stockport is Hinchcliffe, Toure, Bate, Oloafe, Fevier, Fiorin and Diango. So that is how Stockport are lining up today. We've touched on it briefly. Haven't lost a game yet. Drawn 2, won 3, scored a lot of goals, been defensively solid. But they've started life quite fast in League One.
Yeah, they definitely have. I mean, going up as League Two winners and then adapting to life seamlessly by the looks of things. I mean, they've got the best defensive record in the league so far, and they were the second best defensive record entire of last season. So you can see they build on that solid background to then progress to scoring goals. So it's gonna be an interesting game. I think we have to be on the money. I think we have to definitely match them with energy and enthusiasm and discipline. We can't go there gun ho because they're a good solid unit.
It's not surprising that they've had a good start to life in League One when they've got a graduate from La Masia in their ranks. Louis Barry, I think I've got a stat that he's the 5th highest rated player in the league so far this season through Opta scores. He's a fantastic player and first English player to come through the ranks, I believe, at Barcelona, and he's playing in League One. We're going to have a tough time dealing with him.
Yeah, I mean, he's adapted to life this season. I think it's one of his better loan spells. He's had a few loan spells since joining Aston Villa. And he burst into the scene scoring at Liverpool in the FA Cup. So, you know, he's got pedigree, he's got something about him, and he's trying to forge his career and his belief now in the league. I mean, he's scored, I think, you know, five goals in 6 games in all competitions. He just won Player of the Month as well. So, you know, he's buzzing, he's got the juice, and, you know, someone we have to worry about definitely today.
He certainly is. Defensively as well, you know, as you said, they're solid. That when you haven't lost a game all season, that breeds confidence, doesn't it? So it's going to be hard to try and stop that, really.
Well, it definitely breeds confidence, and you want to kind of win games and not concede and keep clean sheets. But at the same time, you know, it can make you be sometimes to a degree overcautious and, you know, and over sort of like worrying, oh, we need to keep clean sheet and stuff like that. So then it can work to our advantage to a degree. As long as we're disciplined and ease ourselves into the game, don't break out of our unit and our lines too quickly, we can build into this game and pose a threat to them.
Hopefully we can do that. Well, we've got some clips here from Louis Barry. As you've said, he's on that season-long loan deal from Aston Villa. What do the Orient backline need to do to try and contain him this afternoon?
Well, this move is typically his trademark goal, because then he reverses it into the other corner, which he does so well. So it's almost like a bit like Iron Robin when he comes in, everyone knows exactly what he's going to do, but you can't stop it. And, you know, he's got a ferocious strike, he shoots on sight, and, you know, he can dribble really well. You know, he's got a bit about him, and he knows where the back of the net is. And, you know, again, he drives inside and unleashes. But anyway, yeah, he drives inside and he's got a ferocious strike. So someone we have to really keep an eye on, because he has got that good quality, top-level quality as well.
I mean, I know we defended really well at Reading last week. I don't think Reading had any players like him in their arsenal that could maybe pose these questions. So it's going to be a real tough test for us.
Yeah, that's why again we have to just keep very disciplined, keep the lines tight, you know, and back tackle. I think the attackers have to then, you know, really work themselves back into the formation and back tackle to help the defensive unit, so we don't break our lines and then get sliced open. So it has to be I think a real masterclass today in defensive duties.
Certainly does. And how big is it from kind of a league table perspective that we try and build a bit of momentum? It's been we knew it was going to be a tough start to the league with the teams we were coming up against. How important is it to now continue and try and start building some momentum? And I know it's early doors, but climbing up the table. No,
definitely. I think, you know, like I said last week, I think the league, you know, after the sort of rest we had with the international break, I felt like this is our season starts now. And it was a great result at Reading. Can we now build upon that? And I think that's the most important thing. Even if we go out for the draw, can we just build that momentum, build that confidence and start climbing that table?
Well, 3 points would be lovely, and hopefully the boys in red can bring them back to London this afternoon. They're making their way out onto the pitch up in Stockport. So let's hand over to the match coverage team of Dave Victor